Okay, besides the geese screaming right now, this is how the barn sounds when everybody's got their fresh hay, their fresh water, and they have their grain. See how peaceful it is in here? I just want you to know it isn't always total chaos in the barn. There are times when it's quiet and peaceful. That drip sound, that's the snow melting. And it's dripping onto the little awning that's out there over the... at first I thought, oh my god, it's a leak, but it's not. There's no water coming in. There's one leak over there that I've got to fix this summer. I was supposed to fix last summer, but I never, I was working again. That has me worried. Only because when you do permaculture and you talk about orchards and stuff, there's always the concern that if you have something that is going to bloom early, is that you can have a late frost come in and do a snap, which freezes all the blooms and ruins your fruit, your harvest for that year. Well, my concern is that because it's so unseasonably warm, it is January 17th, and I'm up near the Canadian border, and it is probably 6:45 in the morning, and it's 38 degrees outside. Okay, that is 38 degrees is way too warm for January. I'm not complaining, mind you, being up here in the frozen tundra, as I call it, that it's warmer. But what I am saying is that if we're not careful, those of us who have permaculture, because there's nothing you can do to unfreeze frozen blossoms and stuff. And I know because I had a plum tree in Washington that had wonderful plums. It was a Hollywood plum tree. But it was the first tree to bloom, and I have pictures of plum blossoms covered in snow. And so when we had that late frost, which wasn't later than normal, it was just a frost or a snow event, it killed all of the flowers, and the bees went dormant again, and I had no plums. I mean, there were many years out there that I had no plums off this tree, where I should have had plums every summer. And it was always sad when it happened, and it wasn't just me, my other master gardeners who had their Hollywood plum trees, we had the same issue with it. Now my peach tree, I had a frost peach tree, and it did amazing. Western Washington was notorious for, because it's so temperate, gosh, I can't think this morning, rainforest, that you had a problem with fungus and mold and stuff, destroying the trees, getting into them. Matter of fact, you had to rake up all the leaves every fall, which wasn't, I mean, it's a couple hours of work to have all the fresh peaches you could possibly eat. Oh my god, they were so good. So good, and the pit just fell right out of them. They were amazing, and I gave away baskets and bushels of peaches because we couldn't eat them all. But anyway, what I'm rolling back around to is that we need to be careful, and I'm a little concerned with our weather patterns. The way that they've been is that we could very well in the south see an issue where all of this warm weather tricks the trees into blooming early, having an earlier than normal bloom rate. I think we're okay right now because the length of day has a little bit to do with when they bloom and when they don't bloom. But if we have unseasonably warm weather, and as the days get longer, it could trigger them to bloom too early. And then if we do have a cold snap come in, we could lose a lot of our permaculture crop for this year. It won't kill the plants per se, but it could ruin our apple, cherry, blueberry, raspberry. Well, not so much raspberries. They're summer bloomer. Let me think. The most of your fruit trees, pears, plums, peaches, dates, figs, all of those, especially your early blooming trees. And I have mine wrapped up in black because I was worried about having a really cold winter like last winter. And I'm still glad I am, because I'm still below freezing. Well, it's 38 today, as you can hear the drop, drop, tip, drip, 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 drip. But it's not warm enough for the trees to start that, because it's still snow. I mean, their base of them are still covered in snow. There's still feet of snow outside. So I'm a little less worried about it right now. And it's still a little bit darker than it would be. But it's a concern that we need to keep on mind for those of us who have orchards and stuff. I don't know that there's anything we could do about it besides doing like they do in Florida, where if there's a freeze coming in, you have to go out and they turn on their misters. Because there's something about the moving water that keeps the plants from freezing. Kind of like when you drip a faucet, it keeps it from freezing. And there's also those, they have like burn barrels and stuff. You know, those propane space heaters that they put underneath the trees to try and keep it warmer so that they don't all die. And you know, and I would be tempted to take my burn barrel, move it next to my peach tree, and burn some of the wood that I've got sitting out there to burn if I knew that it was going to frost and it could possibly help my tree. Wrap it up some more. Put out water jug gallons with boiling water at night. Not so extreme that I'd stand out there with a blow dryer. But it's, you know, you never know. I only have one really good peach tree right now, and I mean, it's kind of stupid to do it because if we get it, I can't do that every year. But it's something to think about. Something to put in the back of your head, see if you've got a plan for saving any of that. I'm more worried about southern areas because, like I said, I'm way up here in the north, and it would be really rare for us to have stuff bloom too early because we still have February, which is going to put everything back into dormancy. So this is the weather we kind of look for to be tapping our maple trees, which is something I'm going to do for the first time this year because I love that pure maple syrup. And I'm only doing it for my consumption. So the neighbor saw me outside this fall, and I was spray painting green X's on all my maple trees. And he had told me I could tap some of his bigger trees out back on his property, that we'd take a walk out there, but we never took the walk, and I didn't have time, so I just spray painted my trees on my property. I don't have a lot of big ones, but I'm not looking to sell it. I don't need 20 gallons of syrup. I just need like 1 gallon of syrup. And maybe if I got lucky and got 2 gallons of syrup, I could give it for Christmas presents. Because there's nothing better than real maple syrup. But this is the weather we're looking for, and we need to keep track of. Keep an eye out on it. It's something to keep in the back of your mind. If you're out or you've got the resources, start thinking and having a plan of, if we were to get a late frost and everything blooms early, what could you do? Or do you have some, you know, floating wrap? It's called floating cloth, I think. It's just like a drop cloth that you could put over blueberry bushes or anything that blooms early. Throw it over the top of your tree if your tree isn't too tall. Just try and think of some of those things just in case this is something that we need to be worried about. Because you never know. And this is weird weather. Weird enough that I've lived in Michigan for many, many years, and this is not normal to have 38-degree weather in January, middle of January. Not at all. And it was nighttime. So that tells you how warm it's going to be today if this weather pattern continues. Because if it was 38 at 6 a.m. when I came to the barn, it could be 40, 42 if the sun comes out tonight and there's no cold air coming in. That is unseasonably warm. So have a good day, guys. And there's your new worry. We don't have enough to worry about now with, you know, everything going on in the crazy world. So I'll just give you another one. So I hope the drip, drip, drip didn't drive you crazy. Chat later. Bye.